Hello, everybody. I'm Alex,
And I'm Alex.
and this is our podcast, Joel.
Joel.
You know, I think it's just bad if we attempt to do that joke where we say other words now, because we're never prepared for it, and if
Yeah.
we do prepare for it, it's not funny. It has to come organically.
And
So,
it's the first thing we do, so it's not like there's anything to draw from. So
right, or at least from our perspective, there might be because we talk a little bit beforehand, but like
yeah.
from the audience perspective, it's just like a cold thing and makes no sense. So cool. That's the end of that. Well, yeah. Welcome to episode 14 of Joel,
That sounds right.
and let's just say that the whole episode. That way, it's funny if we're wrong.
It's like every week. I still don't actually know because I'm pretty sure like I'm gonna go to the YouTube channel right now to see how many we have uploaded. Because it should be, all of them except for this one that we're currently doing, but that's definitely not true. So
Yeah. So here we are, episode 14, and so first starting off, I just wanted to let everyone know that Nathan does not owe me $1,
correct.
which is fun. Additionally, the Phillies continued their tradition of sweeping a good team and then losing a series to a bad team.
What were the
They
teams?
they I use the word swept lightly because they only played 2 games, but they beat the Red Sox 2 games in a row, and then they lost 2 out of 3 to the Marlins, which is extremely depressing.
Based on my knowledge of those two teams, that's not what you would expect, I guess.
On Friday, they lost 19-11 to the Marlins, which
That
when
must
you
have, was it like, so was it just like they both scored a lot consistently throughout the game, or was it like huge scoring runs, or?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I didn't actually watch the game
Oh,
because I don't get the Phillies here, but uh,
interesting.
from watching the game recap, it seemed like the Phillies might have been. I think the Phillies were winning at one point, but basically the Marlins were winning for most of the game.
Oh, okay.
By the time the Phillies got 11, the Marlins already had more than 11. So like they just kept pouring on runs after that too. So
I
yeah,
think,
when you score 11 runs, you don't expect to lose by 8.
right. I think that's like the best way for that outcome to happen, though, because can you imagine if like there's two ways that it could have gone, right? Like the Phillies scored 11 in the first inning and then just slowly blew it the rest
Right.
of the game, or the um what was it, the Marlins?
Yes.
I don't even like, is that a real team? Did you just make that up? The Marlins? Where are they from?
Miami.
Miami Marlins? That sounds fake. So imagine
Sorry, you're right. They're
the
called
Miami
Greg.
Marlins.
You're
What?
right. They're called Greg.
Greg. The baseball team from Florida known as Greg. If,
Well,
if they had if they had scored 19 runs like fairly quickly, and then the Phillies like made this heroic comeback, like fought their way. They scored 11. They seemed to be on a roll, and then they just like got out too much and
right.
lost. So
So go ahead. Yeah,
I
I get what you're saying.
right,
So the Phillies are the record is 67 and 62, which is a winning record.
right.
But they are in third place in their division, and they are only a half game above the team below them in their division, which is the Mets, which is kind of depressing, honestly. Like their division, out of 5 teams in their division, 4 of them have winning records. It's
I mean,
really annoying.
I guess I'm not surprised that they're like in the middle of their division because they're like nearly 500. So,
Well, yeah, yeah, that's
but I
true.
mean, I don't like in baseball. I assume the good teams don't win way more than they lose. They just win like more than the other teams that are not as good win more than they lose.
The Dodgers have the best record in the majors right now. They're 86 and 45.
Okay, so yeah, see that's what I'm thinking is like if you're better than that, you're like legendary.
Right.
Like that's an excellent season if you're like 120 or something like that.
Yes, that's unheard of.
Right.
Although what's funny though, actually relating to Philadelphia sports in 2000, so the Phillies won the World Series in 2008.
Yeah.
And I want to say I always get the year wrong. 2011 or 2010, but I think it's 2011. They set their franchise record by winning 102 games in the regular season. They had 4 pitchers on their pitching staff who they were called the 4 aces. Any one of those pitchers could have been the best pitcher on another pitching staff.
Yeah.
And they lost in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah. That sucks.
It was extremely depressing.
Do you remember that? I don't remember if it was during the podcast or not, but I told you about a sports YouTube channel last week called SB Nation.
Oh, yes, I remember. And I meant to go watch one of their videos, but I did not.
Okay, let me recommend to you a specific video. I don't know if you'll be like particularly interested in it since you have like actual teams that you're a fan of, but like as someone who's just kind of like generically interested in sports, I found this one very, very interesting. It's super similar to what you just described. It's a video about, I think, the 2010 Chargers maybe in the NFL that were like statistically the best offense and the best defense, and they missed the playoffs.
Wow.
Yeah. So
By the way, go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
I was just if that sounds like vaguely interesting as an introduction to what that channel is kind of like, I think that'd be a good video.
Yeah. When you said that, it made me think of, I heard this statistic, and everybody, so it's about the Patriots, and everybody thinks about how good the Patriots offense is all the time, and rightly so because of Tom Brady and such. Right. But do you know the last time the Patriots have been not in the top 10 in scoring defense? It's 2012. And do you know the last time they've not been in the top 15 was 2005? The Patriots always have an above average defense too somehow.
I mean, I guess that makes sense if you've got so much just sustained success. Those two words back to back sounded totally wrong to me as I was saying.
Sustained success.
Sustained success. Those are real words.
Yep.
But yeah, the Patriots have that. And I guess it doesn't surprise me to hear that they've been statistically consistently good.
Right. And anyway, to finish up the Philadelphia sports update, you might remember last week the news was that they signed quarterback Josh McCown, and in the preseason game this week he had a pretty good game. He threw 2 touchdowns, a couple hundred yards, so
that's pretty good
on that front. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're not going to talk about a song this week because about an hour and a half ago we remembered to pick a song to talk about, and we picked one where the Wikipedia article was not extensive enough for us to have intelligent things to say. So
mainly because the song came out 2 days ago.
Yeah, that was most of the problem, I think. It was, we're gonna be focusing more on classic hits and any
songs that came out more than 2 days ago.
More than 2 days ago. So again, if you're looking to send us suggestions, our email is alexandalex@joelthepodcast@gmail.com. Send us your song suggestions.
We are constantly monitoring the email.
Constantly. I will never miss an email. In fact, I haven't missed an email so hard that we haven't even gotten any in. Oh, let's see.
If you're about to say a number, that's impressive that we've gotten an email.
Well, let me read you our email inbox. Not the people that have sent us emails in the past are Google, because we created an account.
Yep.
Google, because we logged into our account from a new device.
Yep.
You, because you sent the picture that we use
Oh, right. Yep.
and it didn't work. And then you again because you sent the picture that we used, but it did work.
Nice.
Google because we signed in a different device. Me because I shared the podcast folder with the podcast account, and me because I made the podcast the owner of the podcast folder that I had just shared. That happened on July 10th. Today is August 25th. We have not gotten any more emails since.
All right. So
email us. We're very lonely.
yes, you can be you listener can be the first listener to email us.
Yes, we'll be so happy. We will read your email on the podcast in its entirety, regardless of what you say.
Also, if you email us your Venmo handle, we will give you 1 cent, which was donated to the podcast. So you can have it if you're the first listener to email us.
Right, receive your special prize. All right, that's probably enough of that. So on to our main topic for the day, which is National Treasure 2, the greatest movie of us.
By the way, I just want to say, I know for all the listeners that's a joke, but I just wanted to say I'm disappointed that National Treasure 2 was not on Netflix. I really wanted to watch it.
Yeah, I definitely did as well. After watching National Treasure, I've just it's come up so many times in positive context every time, and it's made me want to finish the series out.
I really wish they made a National Treasure 3 too.
I mean, talk about a franchise that could use more content. National Treasure is the movie that keeps on giving. You can make that story last forever, and it's still going to be great. As long as it still has Nick Cage.
You know what's depressing is that they're making another Fast and Furious movie, but they're not making another National Treasure movie.
How are they making more Fast and Furious movies still? That's ridiculous.
Keep going to them.
Ugh. If you, the listener to this podcast, the singular listener to this podcast, are planning on going to a Fast and Furious movie at any time in the future, don't.
Go fuck yourself.
First of all, do that. Second of all, write some National Treasure fan fiction and email it to us at alexandalex@joelthepodcast@gmail.com. And we'll send you 1 cent on Venmo.
Unless we've already sent it to someone else.
Right. You have to act fast to claim this prestigious prize.
Yep. You know what'd be funny actually is since we gained a few listeners today,
right?
Would be if one of them were the first ones to email us, having not heard this episode of the podcast. Actually, it wouldn't count because they wouldn't include their Venmo.
Right.
Actually, I probably have their Venmos. Probably them.
Yeah.
Should we require that the person emailing us include their Venmo, or should we Venmo first person?
Just so we know that they've listened, because I feel like you could listen.
Use promo code National Treasure to get 1 cent.
Oh, all right.
Yes. All right, that's the rule.
Excellent idea.
You must include your Venmo handle and the words National Treasure in the email to get the 1 cent.
Right. All right, great.
Yeah, so the actual topic of the day is, I'm excited for this, it's Would You Rathers.
Yes, this is going to be interesting. I think I've found some pretty decent ones because I don't know what my answers would be for all of them. I feel like that was the best way to go, right?
Right.
So, I don't know. Do we just want to jump right into it? And
sure.
I came up with 4 different ones. How many do you have?
I have 5 plus 1 joke one plus a bunch of bonus stuff if we get to it.
Wow. All right. I guess why don't we start with one of yours, and then I guess we'll just take turns until I run out.
All right, here you go. Would you rather have fingers the length of legs or legs the length of fingers?
Would this be like just me, and this would be unusual for a person, or is this just
Yeah,
like am I
just know,
changing?
in the world today, you are immediately transformed into having fingers the length of legs or legs the length of fingers.
Oh man. Okay, like I don't see any like legs the length of fingers would be so difficult. You'd have such tiny little legs. I couldn't drive my car. I couldn't like ride my bike. I could like most of the things that move me around basically because your legs are what do that. So it'd be so hard. Um, but like having fingers the length of legs, like my legs have got to be like 3 feet long. That might be a slight exaggeration, but like let's go with the ballpark. If I had 3 foot fingers, like where actually, this is a super simple question depending on the answer to this question. Do I still only have like 3 joints in my finger, or do I just keep adding more little like bendable segments to the finger until it's the length of a leg?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. So I assume based on the way you asked it that if it's the former, then you'd rather have legs the length of fingers, but if it's the latter, the opposite is true, right?
That's yeah, because I mean like if you still only had 3 joints in your finger and it was the length of a leg, those like sections of finger would be so like you'd break them all the time.
Oh no, I'm just imagining your fingers like curled up in spirals from
But
all the joints.
right? Because like I don't know what I'm gonna do with all that extra finger if it can't just like ball itself up when I'm not trying to like tickle someone from across the room or like whatever you do with that.
That's your first use of that fingers that long is to tickle someone from across the room. First of all, they're not that long, right? Like, can you try to tickle someone with your leg from the other side of the room?
I mean, it's more feasible than with my like stumpy little fingers currently.
Anyway, I actually think that I would choose the legs the length of fingers no matter the answer to that question.
Interesting. Okay.
I think having fingers that long would just be completely like unusable. Like it would be so difficult to use your hands for anything.
Yeah.
With legs, I get your point with the whole like car and like things like that, but like there are people who it's like honestly to me it's a little bit like asking would you rather have your legs chopped off or your hands chopped off.
Yeah. No,
Like
that's actually an interesting point because there are like amputees that just
right.
that's their reality. So
Right. And
so
like
hold
so
on a minute. Like, would
you
you
could get
still
a
have
wheelchair.
on the end of your finger legs?
What?
Would you still have feet on the end of your like stumpy little legs
Oh, absolutely.
and knees in the middle?
I don't think you'd be able to fit a knee, honestly. I think my knee is longer than my finger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be super weird. You would have like this much leg and then just a foot.
Like of either there's two ways I'm thinking of this, and they're both weird. You'd have a regular sized foot on the end of that like length of leg, or your leg would be as thick as a finger, and you'd have a tiny little foot on the
See,
end
I
of it.
think it's the former. It doesn't say like legs the size of fingers. It says legs
Right.
the length of fingers.
No, I think you're completely right, and I think you're right too about the legs being the better choice overall. I'm still tempted by the fingers as long as they're like, you know, tentacles instead of gigantic hinged like regular fingers. But,
Oh, that's so weird to think about.
uh, except they'd be bad tentacles because they could only flex in one direction.
Yeah.
You couldn't curl them back the other way because you can't do that with fingers.
Also, they'd be really difficult to lift.
Yeah, no, yeah, that'd be like anatomically speaking, they'd probably be super weak because the muscles like I'm I don't know this for a fact, but I remember hearing or reading or something at some point that like your fingers don't have like muscles in them so much as your hands have the muscle and like that you're just pulling on tendons which curl your fingers.
You just get really buff hands.
Yeah. Like if you were to work out your hands, your hand would just get thick. Like your fingers still wouldn't,
Right.
That sounds super fake now that I say it out loud, though. So, like, if you know better than me, please email
us.
How many times do you think we can fit email us into this podcast?
If we're trying, at least 10 more.
Yes, that's definitely true. Also, on that topic, be sure to comment down below on this YouTube video.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Each of these Would You Rathers. Make sure you leave each answer in its own comment. That way it looks like we have more comments.
Make sure you create a separate account for each answer.
And subscribe with each of them.
Yes.
That's very important. You must subscribe with each of them.
All right, why don't you read your first one?
Yeah, let's go to this first question. Would you rather, in any situation, cheat and win, or play fair and lose?
I really want to say I would always just rather cheat and lose, but there's not.
Play fair and lose?
What?
Play fair and lose?
Right. Like, I like to think that's what I do now. I don't cheat at games, and sometimes I lose games.
Sure.
But there are situations where I may say I'd rather cheat, even though that sounds really bad.
Right.
Like, for example, if you posited a world where you always lose games unless you cheat, but you can never be detected as cheating.
Right.
I think I would probably cheat sometimes. I hate to say it, but I'm a competitive person. I don't think I can take losing every single game I play.
Yeah, I'm also really competitive, and I knew that was the case for both of us, which is why I picked this one out. I really struggle with this too, because, like, the right answer is play fair and lose, but, like, just losing all the time sucks.
Yeah.
It's just a horrible thing to, like, even hypothetically pick. So I don't know. That's really tough. And when you said, as long as it's undetectable, cheat and win seems like a good idea. I don't know that that's necessarily part of the question. I think it's more of like, how good at cheating are you? Like
right.
if you.
Yeah, I understand it's not part of the question. I was just kind of posing an add-on.
Gotcha.
Like basically the reason I say that is because my answers, this question's really easy for me because it's like just my life now. Like, yeah. I'm happy to lose sometimes and not cheat. I was just saying that I might consider resorting to cheating if I were to lose more often.
So if playing fair only lets you lose,
right, then I might be more tempted. As it is now, I win enough that I don't feel like I need to cheat.
I see. All right.
Here's my next one. I think this is so for all you listeners out there. This was spawned from a few weeks ago. Off the air, we were reading some Reddit threads, and one of them was Would You Rathers, and I think this one came up when we were talking. But here we go. Would you rather change gender every time you sneeze, or not be able to tell the difference between a muffin and a baby?
All right. I remember we discussed this, but I already forgot what my choices were then. Like I feel like my reasoning is going to stay the same, which is changing gender every time you sneeze is like potentially super inconvenient because if you don't sneeze an even number of times, like you need to just be prepared to be both genders, and also you need to explain to everybody that this is a thing. However, not being able to tell the difference between a muffin and a baby is incredibly dangerous.
Like, you wouldn't be able to have kids.
Or muffins.
Right. Honestly, I could live with not eating muffins because I don't really ever eat muffins now.
When I do eat muffins, I really enjoy eating muffins, but it's not often that I eat muffins.
Honestly,
so maybe a sacrifice I could make, but
the part that actually makes it difficult is what does it mean by you can't tell the difference between a muffin and a baby?
Right.
Like, is it like I feel like if you look at a baby, it just looks like a muffin, then then that becomes a very big problem.
Right.
But if it's like you look at a muffin and it just looks like a baby, actually that could still be a pretty big problem.
Right.
But maybe it's
Whose baby is this? Shut up. It's just a muffin.
it's a muffin. What a ridiculous
Left
scenario.
baby in the kitchen. But so I think no, never mind. I don't know.
I gotta say, even with all the problems that come with the muffin baby scenario, I think I'd still go with that
Yeah.
because honestly, I don't sneeze that often, but just the possibility of like sneezing at an inconvenient time, or honestly just like any time, I guess.
Right.
The thing about sneezing is every time is when you do, or at least for me, when I sneeze, I tend to sneeze like I only sneeze when I have like am sick or something like that.
Yeah.
So it'll happen a lot of times in a small period of time. But then I'll go a long time without sneezing.
Sure.
And if I happen to be a different gender after that short period of time where I sneeze a lot, that could be extremely inconvenient.
Yeah. I mean that's definitely an issue I would have because I tend to sneeze like once every couple weeks or so
Right?
on average. So I mean like I guess you could maybe get good at like making yourself sneeze or preventing yourself from sneezing and like work around it that way, but
Right.
yeah, that seems like a difficult and unpredictable life, whereas not being able to tell the difference between a muffin and a baby, there are some like precautions you could take, such as asking people to tell you whether things are muffins or babies. Which
Right.
is weird, but like not changing genders because you sneezed weird.
Yeah. All right, so we're in agreement then there. All right, read your next one.
All right, would you rather know how you die or know when you die?
Oh, that's uh, honestly, I think it's so all right, I'll just say my thought process out loud.
Yep,
So, my first instinct is to say when
right.
because it's much more useful information
Yes.
and it's honestly but it's just like that's such a scary thing to know because that whole leading up to that you'll be kind of like dreading it.
Right.
Whereas with how it's kind of a crapshoot, right?
Yeah.
Like if I do not expect to die. I mean, obviously no one expects to die unexpectedly.
Right.
So if I just find out so chances are I would just find out I die from like, a heart attack in my sleep or something like that,
Right.
which would basically not be any new information to me,
Right.
which is honestly preferable to finding out that I I don't know if I'd rather find out when I die or not. Probably not, right? So I guess the gamble is if you find out how you die, you might be finding out a big piece of information which you would really not want to know versus you might find out nothing. Whereas if you find out when you die, you're guaranteed to find out some information, right?
Sure.
What do you think?
So I lean towards when because I mean it's not news to me that I'm going to die. So
Good.
learn as I researched these would you rather's, I came across this question and I was like, wait, I'm gonna die? Um, yeah, no, my reasoning for when is that either it's a long time from now, in which case I think like, that's about what I expected, and it's not going to come as much of a surprise when it comes around anyway, because it's probably some like a disease related to old age, or just something like that, to where like doctors will basically be telling me you have, you're probably, your life expectancy at this point is something, I don't know, right? Like that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
if it's what I kind of expect it to be, it wouldn't be much of a surprise anyway. And if it's not very far from now, I can change my lifestyle accordingly.
Right.
Whereas if I know how I die, imagine it's like car crash, right?
Right.
Like you'd never drive again, or like ride in a car. That would like,
Well, if we're assuming that you have this knowledge, then it's inevitable, right?
yeah,
So why not drive?
because every time you got in the car to drive, at least I would think like, what if this is the time? What if I'm about to die?
Right.
Because now I know that this is how I die. So who's to say that this isn't the time? Because it's totally unpredictable anyway, right?
Right. Let me ask you a question. If you had the option of finding out when you die, but the other option was just nothing happens, would you take it?
No, I just let nothing happen. It seems better to not know either of these things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree when is probably the better option.
Yeah, it's not that how is guaranteed to be bad, but like like you said, like you might just find out that you are going to die of a heart attack in your sleep, and then you'd be like, all right, that's cool, that's fine. But like, to me, finding out that you're going to die because a building falls on you is worse than finding out that you're going to die in 6 years, for
Right.
example.
Yeah, I feel like the finding out how you're gonna die and having it be unexpected leaves a lot more like unknowns and uncertainty.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, here's one final question then. Would you rather not find out anything at all, or find out how and when?
Hmm. Still, definitely, I would not want to find out. Actually,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
I'm a little bit more tempted by how and when, because
yeah,
then
that's
like
true.
there's no there's nothing unknown. Because I feel
Yeah.
like everything unknown is fine, because that's just how it is. If it's partially unknown, that seems kind of scarier to me, because you have like this knowledge that you can't do anything with. But like knowing everything, you still have knowledge that you can't do anything about, but you can at least like, come to terms with it, as opposed to just,
So here's a question then. So back when I asked you if you could find out when or nothing, and you picked nothing,
yeah,
so why does knowing how change that?
like when and how versus when.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I guess the real answer is it sort of doesn't.
Interesting.
But like, I don't know.
I honestly think if I found out the time and means of my death, I would just unless it was like, in 60 years or whatever,
Yeah,
I would focus on it way too much.
right.
And if it does turn out to be in 60 years or whatever, then it's basically useless information. I'm gonna die when I'm old. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah,
So that's why I would pick neither if I could.
yeah. No, I think you're right. That makes sense.
All right, here we go. I love how mine are a lot less serious than yours. So we go from something like that to, would you rather eat a brownie flavored piece of poop or a poop flavored brownie?
um, I guess first of all, I'm not a poop scientist, but I don't think all poop tastes the same.
Right. This one tastes like a brownie though.
No, I
Oh,
mean
you mean for the poop flavored brownie?
correct.
It probably all tastes like approximately the same, right? Like a standard piece of poop.
So brownie flavored like the average poop.
Yes.
All right.
Like if you just take a dump right now and smell it, that's what your brownie tastes like.
um. All right. Well, on one hand, it's unpleasant to taste poop, but like you're eating a brownie, so you're probably going to be all right. Like
Yeah.
that would be an unpleasant conscious experience for you, but like there's no consequences to it. Whereas with the brownie flavored poop, I mean, I don't think that eating poop is like great for you.
Yeah, I'm sure there's risks involved.
So,
I
but it tastes like a brownie.
Yeah, the
So,
thing is, eating a poop flavored brownie, I think it would be a little bit more than unpleasant for me. I think I would definitely throw up.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it like unpleasant is like the very generic. Like it would be awful. That
Yeah.
would be horrific. But
Ugh. I don't know if I can ever eat a brownie again now.
I'm gonna go get a brownie right now and eat it.
Oh my gosh, what's you monster?
It's gonna taste like a brownie though, so it'll be
I'm gonna
really
go take a dump right now.
yeah.
Honestly, ah, I really want to say I would go with the poop flavored brownie. I just don't know if I can do that. But brownie flavored poop. Ah,
Right.
this is such a terrible would you. I mean, it's such a good would you rather.
It's
But
good
so
because
terrible.
it's difficult to answer, but it's bad because you're like picking one of these awful things to do.
Ah. Honestly, having would you rather's where what are you doing?
It's such a good brownie.
I'm gonna go eat a cookie. Having would you rather's where both options are bad are much more fun than when both options are good. But it's so bad.
It is so bad. I think it's horrible, but I have to go with the fact that I'm eating a brownie over the fact that I'm eating poop. Because that's just, huh?
You say you're going with the poop flavored brownie?
I have to, because otherwise I'm saying like, yeah, I'll eat some poop. That's
That's
what I
that's
choose to do.
that's not quite what you're saying though.
Not quite, but like when you get down to it, like I guess,
That's like reducing the question to would you rather eat a brownie or a piece of poop?
but that's kind of
Just,
what I have to
it's just
stand.
ignoring all the bad parts.
Look, I've eaten things that I did not like the taste of.
I thought you were about to say something different than that.
I've eaten things that I'm not proud of, and I can tell you from experience, no, that's not true. Um, I've never eaten anything that isn't food, as far as I can remember. I mean, like, maybe when I was very young or something crazy like that, but you know, I don't have any memory of eating anything that's not food. But there are foods that I really dislike the taste of, and so like when I have eaten those foods, it's like not a nice experience.
Have you ever had sushi?
I have had sushi.
I really do not like seaweed,
Yeah.
which is in sushi. And the one and only time I've ever tried sushi, it was very difficult. I really hate to say this on a podcast that's going to be published on the internet, but I think I would take the brownie flavored poop.
Wow.
I don't think I could get through a poop flavored brownie.
All right, there you have it. I think this is the first one that we didn't agree on, right?
Yeah. Oh, they're both just so bad though.
They are both very bad. That was a tough one. That was a divisive question.
Email us. Would you rather eat a poop flavored brownie or a brownie flavored poop?
Vote in the comments below, and we will do one of those things.
No. Not even sure we would get either of those things.
Yeah, those aren't real, which is luckily saving us from ever having to follow through on that ridiculous promise.
This is like one of those things where if I ever heard it outside of like this is one of the few scenarios where I would actually answer the question.
Right.
Like, if I was just having a conversation with someone about this, I would say, I don't think I can answer this question. If I was just reading this on the internet, I would just stop thinking about it. Oh, I cannot believe I answered that question. Oh my gosh.
You picked it.
I know I picked. When I was picking it, though, I was like, huh, this is a good question. I didn't really think about it too much.
All right. Okay, let's see. I already asked that one, and I already asked that one. Wait a minute.
What?
Oh, I said I had 4, right? I only wrote down 3. Where's
All right.
my 4th one? All right, I'm going to ask this one so that you can start thinking, and then I'm going to go search for my 4th one.
All right.
The question is, would you rather be very rich, like as rich as you wanted,
Yep.
but you didn't have friends and like your relationship with your family was very poor?
Yeah.
Or would you rather be like completely bankrupt poor, like homeless poor, but have lots of friends and family?
I really, really, really want to say the latter.
Yeah.
But I've never been poor.
Right.
So it just sounds really stressful.
I think you're correct. As someone who also has not been poor.
You know what? I'm definitely going to say the latter. As stressful as being poor might be, I think being extremely rich and having no friends would just be incredibly depressing, honestly. Like, I really can't, like, I don't have that many friends now.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine what my life would be like if I had no friends and I didn't like my family.
Right.
That would be very difficult. So I think I'm going to stick with the poor. Ugh. Another.
It's so hard. Like, I think that's the right choice because I think having people to support you is better than just having ridiculous amounts of money, but like no positive social context whatsoever. But it's really difficult for me. I mean, obviously these are both hypothetical situations, but like if I could just be rich, like wouldn't it'd be a lot less to worry about. Like I think it would be sad, but like you'd at least be comfortable most of the time, and you might like feel depressed, I guess, but like I don't know. It's like trading your mental health for your physical health in some sense here.
I get what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying that what it is.
Yeah.
That you would be very stress free to be rich.
Right.
And you wouldn't really have to worry about anything. I just personally, yeah, I really don't think I could do no friends, no family.
Yeah.
So
That's tough.
You got to make a choice here.
Yeah, no, I think my choice is going to be the poor and friends and family, because like I don't know, just being just alone all the time seems pretty rough.
Right. All right. Here's the next one. Would you rather, from now on, you only age from the neck down, or you only age from the neck up? My initial thinking about this was trying to see if there was a way that you could just like not like die, like because
Yeah.
you prevent aging. But really, I think you would live longer if you only aged from the neck up,
Mm-hmm.
but you would probably still eventually die of like a stroke or something. And you would probably become senile or otherwise not a very high functioning human at a certain point, even though you had a healthy young body.
Yeah. I mean, I'm more drawn to aging only from the neck up, just because of how, like as a relatively young person, the neck down bit of me is about as good as it's going to get. So,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I see that's what
right?
that's no, you're right. That's what my initial thought was as well. My only thing is like, I have, you know, like you would never if you didn't age from the neck up. Wait, you said you wouldn't, yeah, if you didn't age from the neck up, you would never have bad hearing or bad eyesight, aside from your whatever bad eyesight you have now, you would never like be unable to see close.
Right.
Although you already can't, but you know what? For me,
Fine.
and I mean, you would never, lose mental capacity, lose your memory, anything like that.
Yeah.
It does sound pretty nice, although it does sound weird. It sounds weirder having a young head and an old body than having a young body and an old head.
I think if you had a young head but an old body, your young head would just be like, what's this useless sack beneath me? Like, this is, you know, I guess that happens when you get old anyway.
Yeah. See, like the thing is, all this stuff benefits I'm talking about if you keep your head young,
Yeah.
they don't really matter for like 30 years optimistically, but you would never lose your hair. But
I'm never losing my hair. I don't know what you're talking about.
I
I'm gonna look like
definitely
this forever.
I I'm just imagining like a 70-year-old with your hair.
Well, you do have to imagine it, but also if you wait 50 years, you'll get to experience it.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm gonna lose my hair by like 50 probably. I have very thin and not full hair. Anyway, anyway, the thing is, if you had your body age, you could probably last longer before it started becoming an issue.
That's
Like,
true. Like with your body aging, you can like still exercise and stay healthy, but like with your head aging, a lot of those things you described, like losing your hearing and losing your vision, that's not something that you can like work on to prolong.
right, and you say that, but I still don't know that I would exercise any more than I'm like like I don't know if I would really take that advantage of
The thing
that.
is, right, that our heads and bodies are aging, and here we are just sitting around all day anyway.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, that's a good point.
But my actual point was that like you wouldn't really like I guess maybe you would start getting like joint pain or whatever at a
Just
young
start in joint pain. You don't have joint pain?
oh no. You may just want to let your body age anyway then. You're already an old man.
I feel like if I let my body age, by the time I hit 40, it's just going to be pathetically awful.
Start exercising.
Let me change that phrase. Since my body has to age by the time I'm 40. I don't know if you have like thought about this, but I may be in for a rough time in the future. And I've come to terms with that.
I forgot that you don't have any knees. That could be an issue.
Yeah.
By the
It's,
time, I mean, most people's knees start wearing out when they get old. Yours are already gone.
they're just, you know, bad currently, so it doesn't get better in the future.
Rip.
Yeah. Well,
So, what's interesting is that this Would You Rather is actually two good options.
yeah.
See, the weird thing is in my head, I feel like I'm comparing any option I choose to having none of me age instead of the actual scenario, which is all of me ages.
That's exactly what I'm doing too, which is really, it's interesting. It says something about us psychologically.
Yeah, I don't know what, but I'm sure it does.
If you're a psychologist, please email us at Yeah, no, that's really strange. I mean, obviously either one's fine, but like,
I think, all right, final decision time.
yep.
I think I'm gonna have my body age. I know it's a controversial decision, but that's what I'm gonna go with.
Interesting. I've got to go with the head aging.
All right, well, when you're 70 and can't remember your children's names, I will be laughing at you with my no children. All right.
I'll beat the crap out of you with my youthful body.
Damn it.
All right.
All right, go ahead with you found your last one?
I did find my last one. This one's a bit more lighthearted,
Good.
which is good because your last one was kind of.
Right.
So the question is, would you rather eat only pizza for a year or not be able to eat pizza for a year? And if that's too easy, stretch it out to like the rest of your life. I'm going with the way it was written when I saw it, but I do think it's kind of.
I think it actually makes it easier if you stretch it out to the rest of your life.
Yeah?
Because if you stretch it out to the rest of your life, there's no question I would never eat pizza again.
Right.
For a year, though.
Okay. All right. All right. We'll stick with a year then.
I think. Okay, just my preliminary thought is that I would not eat pizza for a year.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of if I could do that. If I could eat pizza for a year and be. I know you like pizza more than I do, probably. Yeah. So.
That's correct. To me, I see the merits of eating pizza for an entire year. I definitely don't see the merits of eating pizza for your entire life, which is why the second option, occurs to me as maybe the more difficult question. Here, let me just go over the two questions and why I asked them. I guess the first one: would you rather eat only pizza for a year or never eat pizza? It seems easy to just immediately say, "Oh, I just won't eat pizza for that year," because I just go back to eating pizza afterwards. No big deal. Whereas if you can never eat pizza for the rest of your life, I like pizza. You've got to.
You like pizza now.
Yeah.
But in 5 years, if you've never eaten anything other than pizza, you can't tell me that you'll still be happy with that.
Here's the problem with this question, which, as I consider it, I actually don't think it's a very good question in either form. Because here's the thing: you're asking, would you rather not eat pizza or not eat anything except pizza?
Yes.
It's not the fact that you get pizza or you don't get pizza. It's that you don't get pizza or you don't get literally everything except pizza.
Yes.
So, regardless, you just pick to not eat pizza.
Yeah. The thing is, I was trying to think, I might be able to go an entire year and only eat pizza, and it wouldn't be that miserable. But then I was like, it wouldn't be that miserable, but I can just not eat pizza for the year and I would be fine.
Right.
So
let me propose an experiment, and you can definitely say no to this because this will be kind of inconvenient. What if we went an entire week eating nothing but pizza?
No.
Okay.
If you, I might agree to an experiment where I only eat pizza for lunch and dinner, but I'm definitely not eating pizza for breakfast.
What if you just didn't eat breakfast? Like, I feel like it's only. You just like froze up for a second. I don't know if my audio was.
Oh yeah, no, you're fine. You just stopped at only.
All right. Okay, so I mean, like, I think it's only an interesting challenge if you're literally only eating pizza. Because if it's like you can only eat pizza except for breakfast, because you know you don't want to eat pizza for breakfast, then like, what's the point?
Well, the point is I'm still only eating pizza for lunch and dinner for an entire week.
I don't know. It just doesn't have the same impact to me.
Yeah, honestly, no, you're absolutely right. Because
That I just would do if I wanted to at some point. But like having to eat pizza as a challenge for a whole week does
Right.
sound genuinely like a challenge.
yes, so I guess I didn't get that you were initially trying to propose a challenge and not an experiment.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, yeah, it's a little bit of both. It's an experiment because I want to know what it's like, but it's a challenge because I suspect it's not going to be that great.
Tell you what, let me think about it for a week.
All
Next
right.
week I'll give you my answer on the podcast.
Great. On the podcast, by the way, next week, as you know, it's Labor Day weekend. I'll be in St. Joe
Okay?
with Shelby. We can choose to do a podcast at our regular time, probably. That might work. Or we might want to postpone for a little bit just so that we're, in our regular podcasting place and have time to.
Well, it's up to you because I'm not going anywhere, so.
All right. Well, I'll talk about it with Shelby and then I suppose maybe also my family, but we can probably just do whatever with my family. So.
You have off on Monday?
Yes.
I do too.
Nice. Is this one of your weeks with Friday off too, or no?
Yep. It's a 3-day week.
All right. So that's nice. Good for you. All right. So I'll figure that out and then let you
All
know.
right.
It's not super important though.
Anyway. So we're both obviously going with no pizza, right? For the year or the rest of our lives.
Of course. Yeah. That was kind of as you think about it for a little bit, it's a bad question. I thought
All right.
it was good because pizza's good, but it's not good.
Here's my final actual regular question.
All right. Here we go.
Would you rather full force punch a baby or every day you get punched by a guy named Chet? You only have to punch the baby one time in order to get out of being punched every day.
Where do I punch the baby? Like in the arm? Like, do I punch the baby in the shoulder?
I mean, I guess it's not specified, so I guess you can punch the baby in the shoulder if you want. But I feel like that doesn't make it as not bad as it seems. Wow, that was really convoluted. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Like-
It's still bad. Like there's no good spot to punch a baby. But like being punched every single day, that's awful.
I mean, if the guy's punching you in the arm I don't know, getting punched in the arm doesn't seem. Yeah, I guess if he's full force punching you in the arm. Oh, but you have to punch a baby.
Like I get that it's bad to punch a baby, and there probably will be, like you probably will cause some harm to this baby by punching it full force. But this is kind of an ethical question in some ways. Like I feel
it's if you only consider the ethics, it's easy because it's unethical to punch a baby just to save yourself suffering. Unless you're a utilitarian, but
well, I mean that's what I'm saying is like is it unethical or is it by default ethical to cause yourself harm and suffering regardless of the alternatives?
No.
I don't like not even just in a utilitarian view. There's got to be other like
the other thing I would argue no. However, the thing is, it's not necessarily you causing yourself harm in this scenario. It's Chet causing you harm.
I mean, you're still kind of indirectly causing the harm because you could have chosen to just punch a baby. And like, I get that
By
punching a
that
baby,
logic, am I doing a good thing by just every day not punching a baby? I could choose to punch a baby.
That's true. You are a great person for never
Thank you.
punching babies.
Thank you.
I am also a great person. To all our listener out there, if you are not punching babies, give yourself a pat on the back, standing ovation. I'm gonna stand up while clapping. Good job.
If you have never punched a baby in your life, please email us, and we will give you 1 cent, assuming you meet the criteria stated earlier in the video.
Right. I feel like if you do email us for that particular reason, though, you should also figure out some way to prove that you've never punched a baby, because I don't feel comfortable paying baby punchers.
That's a good point. In fact, that just applies to everyone.
If you send us an email and expect money out of us, you do need to prove that you've not punched any babies.
Or at least provide a convincing argument. I realize that would be hard to prove a negative, if not impossible.
Yeah.
So,
and we're reasonable people, so we won't expect you to do that.
Plus, it's also only 1 cent, so we probably won't look that hard. just put in some effort, please, for the 1 cent.
Don't like attach the video of you punching a baby to your email is basically what we're getting at here. If you do that, you definitely won't.
If you do, I will Venmo request you 1 cent.
I will charge you money.
No. It's not a money charge. I'm just requesting that you pay me.
What if they just say no?
There's nothing I can do about it. All I'll do is I'll say, I want you to give me 1 cent, and I can't enforce it, but you really should for punching that baby.
Right.
And,
clear your conscience. Give us a cent because you punched a baby.
Alright, here we are. What do you choose? Punch a baby or get punched by Chet?
I know it's horrible, but I'm still leaning punch a baby, because getting punched every day, like, that can't be good for you.
Honestly,
I think a baby, like, saying this out loud is pretty rough, but I think a baby can get over it.
Honestly, I was actually on the same side as you until you brought up the ethics of it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I was like, yeah, I was in the same page as you. Like, that baby will be fine.
Probably.
Where I'll be suffering every day. Actually, this is a lot harder than it should be, okay?
Yeah, it is.
How bad is it to punch a baby? To save yourself being punched every day.
All right. If I had to give you a rating, getting punched every day is like, I don't know, 8 out of 10 bad.
Okay.
Because, like, there are worse things that could happen to you than being punched, but you do get points for it being every single day.
You know what? Fuck it. Bring it on, Chet. I'll take Chet punching me every day over punching a baby.
All right. Maybe Chet sucks at punching, so I don't know.
I sure hope so.
Is it like a particular Chet, or just like anyone named Chet may be able to punch you in a day?
It is a particular Chet, but it's not specified in the question which Chet. And by that I mean it'll be the same it'll be the same guy every day. And he just happens to be named Chet.
Could you pick like a very young person named Chet?
You don't get to pick the person.
Okay. What happens when Chet dies? I realize that we already made our decisions and now we're discussing this more, but I'm kind of curious now.
Chet can name his successor.
Who is also named Chet.
Well, the person either has to be named Chet or they have to legally change their name to Chet.
Okay.
All right. So that's all the regular Would You Rathers we have. And we are at the hour. We are at the hour mark. Okay, so all right. Let me just pose my joke one first because I think it's kind of funny.
All right.
Would you rather have your favorite WNBA team win the championship, or find $5 on the street?
Oh, no, this is a decision. Ugh. I feel gross even discussing this.
I mean, the answer is obviously $5, right?
So I don't have a favorite WNBA team. I don't think I could name any WNBA teams.
Exactly.
So, like, I guess, yeah, finding $5 is just better for me as an individual.
Yeah. The answer is that's why it was a joke one. The answer is really obvious. I just thought it was funny to ask it.
It makes me feel like a bad person for not caring about the WNBA, but I don't know. That's not a big deal. I don't care about the NBA that much either, so I'm not,
Would you rather find $5 or have your favorite NBA team win a championship?
I mean, it's still find $5, I guess. I assume the answer becomes different for you then, but
yeah, well, I'm a lot more invested in a particular team than you, so
yeah. I think if I could pick a professional sports team at will to win a championship or find $5, I would pick the $5 regardless of the sport.
Well, the way you worded that makes it sound like you can bet on the team that you've picked to win the championship. Anyway. Yeah, I get your point.
Yep.
All right, so we're at 1 hour 6 minutes. You want to end it here?
Sure, that's a good length. People are probably done listening.
So yeah, that's all.
Right.
Sorry we didn't get to the bonus content.
That's all right. Maybe we'll toss it in next week.
Yeah.
If you're still listening at 1 hour and however many minutes you just said, please send us an email.
Honestly, I really don't think we got it in 10 times. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
We're at like 5 max.
If we did have listeners, I would be curious to see how many of them listen to the end and how many are 20 minutes in oh, it doesn't get any better. All right, I'm just gonna quit.
Honestly, I think this is a good episode.
Yep.
All right, episode 14, right?
Episode 14 for sure, no question.
All right. If we're wrong, email us.
If we're right, also email us because we like positive validation.
All right. Yeah, so that's it. Do we want to discuss what we're going to do next week or keep that a secret?
Let's keep it a secret.
All right.
Because I don't know what we're going to do next.
Well, you're not supposed to, obviously that's the case, but you're not supposed to say that.
Well, I mean...
We're supposed to pretend that we have something, we're just keeping it secret.
We do have something. I'm just making a joke.
Ah, yeah. Me too. Wink.
If you got the joke, please email us.
We're really trying for those 10 times.
All right.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yep.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Alex.
And this has been Joel, the podcast.